we now have the opportunity to move in the next session as centers in response to what we've just heard and in line with what we were doing yesterday and the day before and in the last couple of years. So for the next half hour, you're going to be working together with and talking with each other at your own tables with your own center, taking a look at what you as a center have a response for what you've just heard. What did you notice from this session? What is your response to it? And what might you and your center do as a result of this? On your table there are Post-its. Write on the Post-its an idea, about 5 to 7 words, of what you plan to do as a center, and you can have as many Post-its as you want, and many ideas as you want. So here we are on this side now, and you can direct your attention over to this back wall. We want to hear from every center. So if you haven't posted yours, wind it up. We're going to start giving our feedback now. Don't go away, you people that have come up here. And we'll start with NanoLink and have a report out from the NanoLink Center.
Okay, well, I'm taking the disruptive lesson to heart here, and so I'm going to be very disruptive. So, and I hope people will take this in the spirit it's intended. The first thing, it's clear that from what our work in Synergy and our work as NanoLink, that we think we understand what needs to go into the classroom. We think we have the characteristics understood, engagement, hands-on, how to cheap, implementable, with support, not necessarily, and all of those pieces. We think we know the pieces, and I think most of us know those pieces. And I think that what we're in a world now where what we're doing is a cottage industry. We have individual craftsmen who are individually assembling individual pieces of learning and then crafting them in a particular way, and then we deliver them in some way, shape, or form. And,
your time is up.
Oh, really?
We've got 10 minutes to do 13 centers. I'm sorry. Thanks for being a good sport.
So I got 30 seconds? All right. So we're going to hit bullet number 3. Moving forward, we're going to use the value matrices and apply them to better understand our impact, which is the immediate, potential, applied, realized, and reframing pieces of the value matrices. We're going to look at all of our activities through the lens of using value matrices. We're going to document what we've done in an evaluation handbook, and we're going to spread what we've learned through blogs, discussions, white papers, and formal peer-reviewed stuff.
CTC. We're going to consider the long-term options for scaling national, global, pending at least some funding to support. We're going to continue to focus on application and implementation of scale with our Convergence College Network. And we see a need for disseminating the theory and concepts of scale, but the center can't just add it to their plate as an activity.
You can come up and read these later, leisurely. Who's the next center?
Create. We're going to mine our influence network for new partnerships. We're going to develop a plan for more data collection and analysis of impact, both at the program and the implementer levels. Research why our implementation pilot was successful. It was very successful. We want to see what the elements were that made it successful, and create a more concise description / marketing statement so our potential adopters can understand that, one, they can do it, and two, what's in it for them.
So we had a big debate at our table. We were lucky to have one post-it. And I think part of it is that we're still struggling in the fact that we feel like we're still in a pilot phase, and you have to get out of a pilot phase to have scale. And I think from our perspective, and I'm pretty passionate about this, is that if I could just borrow this piece of paper, that you walk into any employer and your resume looks like this when you graduate from community college. Good luck. That is not a way to find employment and have a successful career. You have to have something on that resume. And so I'm very passionate about the idea, and my feeling is that there's a lot of people in this group and this community that are doing internships, are interested in internships, and I just feel like we need to elevate that conversation and make it more important and more critical.
This afternoon's discussion.
Great. So our bullet says, understanding and strengthening internship practices at the community college level.
Okay, Frank Cox from AdEd. I'm reading the Post-its. Yep. Our reaction that the interview was not as positive as expected, and that the log analogy applies more to the university system than community colleges. I believe we're much more we can move quicker. At MadEd, we're using the logic model more in all kinds of activities, not just our proposals, and using the flower chart, i.e. spread and shift, for our synergy activities, and use CPTs in future strategic planning.
Thank you.
So I'd like to just express gratitude to Chris. That was very provocative and also affirming. We've also been commenting that Synergy's been focused on the replication of small-scale successes. And there's another dimension of scale, which is scope. You know, as a center, you're looking at many colleges, and that's a different exercise from looking at just one program or one college. NSF scope is the whole U.S. and its educational systems, and how do we impact that? And I really just appreciate being challenged to take that higher level perspective. You know, we're from California. We've got sequoia and redwood logs. We invoked Ganesh, the elephant-headed Hindu god, who is about removing obstacles. We've got some big nuts to crack there, and that's enough.
Ganesh always has the mouse by him, you know.
We're Cassia. They left the new people here today, so we're coming from a new experience. This is our first year with Synergy. Our response to what did we notice from the session was that they all keep on saying we need an elephant. They think that's the only way you can move a log. Our reaction is, this is tunnel vision. There are other ways to move the log. We can use ants and we can use penguins with explosives. We don't need an elephant. Where we're going with Cassia is we're going to replicate our results by adopting the Synergy methodologies, but adapting the processes to suit our new innovations.
Okay, I love penguins with explosives. I want that T-shirt. Okay. John Caritz from BioLink, and the home of, from California, and home of the large logs. So I like that. Okay, BioLink has already and will continue to scale projects using synergy concepts, processes, and tools to achieve scale. Examples, contract organizations, Science Equipment Depot, and our new career website. We want to integrate research to the community college model at all levels, classroom, program, and department level. Our center, BioLink, will establish parameters for for collecting data on programs, so we can compare across our different bridge scale-up programs and other scale-up efforts. So here's one: make our synergy elephant. We want to make that synergy elephant to transform the community college system and team up with other elephants around the country who are also trying to move the log, and either make one really huge or ginormous elephant, or gather a herd of elephants to move the log, because we think the log is actually really bigger than the log in Chris's picture. It's a really, really big log. And this is a blank of all the big ideas from BioLink that are coming that we didn't have time to put down yet.
I was lucky enough to join in on IMPIC's discussion about the presentations, and so to take Ty's analogy, I'm going to warm my hands over the fire and I'm going to sing James's song for a minute. One thing that we discussed was a matter of perspective and how this experience has helped us look at our own perspective in terms of thinking about Google Maps, where if you zoom in or zoom out, your perspective changes. And as we're all approaching projects as centers and we're working with other centers, or we're trying to be change agents within our own regions or nationally, that we have to examine what our own perspective is and how it's shifting in a global context, in an economical context, and in the broadest scales of education in order to create change, and to recognize where it's important for us to realize that we are rabbits, maybe we're big rabbits, maybe we're rabbits wearing elephants' clothing, and what kind of tools, resources, and connections we need to help us really create more transformative change.
Okay, Mark Gislow from Geotech Center. From the beginning, Geotech has had a scaled-up vision, and we discussed one of the main outcomes of the Geotech process that already exists is the efforts to break down the artificial divide between the workforce development, technology sort of education track and the traditional general education academic track within community colleges. The main effort on that has been implementation of a national model curriculum. So the next steps will be to design projects with scale and impacting evaluation built in, and basically creating a handbook for integration for community college use that addresses this both at the national level for innovators and also at the local college level. That is starting to attack some of the impediments that exist within community colleges themselves that make this difficult, and then the contribution to the community of innovation.
Hi, Teresa Gardner, SCATE, and we want to continue to spread the use of problem-based learning. We're building and want to continue to build a community of PBL practitioners. From that community, we want to develop teams of practitioners, do a train-the-train model to diffuse the innovation and empower our practitioners to create custom scenarios for use in their classes regardless of their disciplines.
And since we have 1 minute left, I think that we should go back to NanoLink.
As I was saying, next slide, please. And I will say that Mitt Romney did say that Michigan does have trees that are just the right size. So, to quickly conclude, our educational production is cottage-based. We are individual craftsmen making modules or whatever we're calling them, or kits, and we've got to get out of that. We've got to become a post-industrial economy that manufactures these things with specialists who will take the content and turn them into things that are usable, and not have each and every one of us have to be all things to all educational elements. Point one. Point two, our other reaction is, a big question. How can the NSF ATE Center structure itself become a better medium for creating elephants? Because we are in a situation now where we are fragmented, it's unclear what our structure actually is or should be. There are many of us work with groups that are like our groups but not our groups. Why is that? And is that structure the best structure to make elephants?
We now have we missed one? ICT? Sorry.
I was outside and I thought we already went. But anyways, let's see. I think, are there any other resource centers here? Matt? Yeah, SCATE. There's a few. You know, our mission is a little different, I think. But I think we have to, let's see, develop methods to better measure impact of all the work we're disseminating. We're doing a lot of dissemination work right now. We want to continue publishing in various formats. We need to figure out how to measure better the kind of impact we're having. We have to track down to a level of, have to track students better, to track our impact at the student level better. If we can, as a resource center, it's a little different, like I said. And I think the other thing that's most important, we've always kind of pushed on the new and emerging technologies, which are usually disruptive, and we're going to continue to do that. So sometimes we've had good results, and sometimes the results haven't been so good. But I think it's important to keep pushing on the disruptive stuff.